right on the edge.
Yeah, it's
Over this. Nope, over this.
No, the other way. That's it.
That way. That's it. Yeah.
I was trying to let you be able to see the quilt behind me.
Well, that's fine. You can see. Yeah, there's good because you can see the wreathy bit, but you'll just have to move when you're talking about it.
Right there, Laura. Right there.
So
awesome.
Thank you guys for joining us today on our I don't know, what is this, our 4th live now session with Designing Women. I think this is number 4. So I'm stoked to have all you guys here. Welcome to Faith and Fabric. I'm Jen Frost, if we haven't met. I design mostly faith-based patterns for those of you guys who have been here for a while, but we want to introduce you to all of our friends today by learning what your favorite part about the holidays are. You know, obviously some of us celebrate different holidays. We celebrate Christmas. My favorite part about Christmas, besides taking the tree down because I really don't love Christmas, is probably the lights. I'll be honest. I just love, it's always so dark this time of year, and I really love driving around in the evenings and seeing the Christmas lights. And what's your favorite part of the holidays?
I love Christmas. I love setting up the Christmas tree. We're in Australia, so it's the middle of our summer. But we take my great nephews to a Christmas tree farm that's nearby. We literally cut down a Christmas tree, bring it home, decorate it. I do the whole Christmas music thing. I sing jingle bells pretty much all year round. Making gingerbread with my great nephews is fun. But this year, I must say, it's advent calendars. I'm a sucker for them. I just love them. So if you follow me on my socials, my personal social, and Boundy on Instagram, I am doing a daily open of, I think it might be 5.
I was going to say, I think I saw 5.
Oh, well, there's the Missouri Star Quilt Company one, though, that I'm opening on YouTube. So possibly 6. I just love the being spoiled thing. Comes from being the youngest child in the family. It's like I like being spoiled. So I spoil myself these days.
I love it.
And what about you, Charisma? What's your favorite thing about the holidays?
I love having my family over. I have 6 kids. So for us, I mean, they're grown adults now. And now we had Thanksgiving, and just the laughter, the chaos, the everything that happens when my family gets together. There's this rhythm that happens, because they're all adults now and they're all away from home. But when we all come together, there's that rhythm that only each family has. And then when they come together and they're together for, a certain amount of time, that rhythm sort of comes back even as adults. And I love that sort of time with them. It's very special to me. It's always the little things that matter the most to me. So just having a meal with them, laughing, playing games, anything like that. So that's really, I know that's probably almost everybody's favorite thing, but particularly just because I didn't have that sort of thing growing up. So I just love that I get to do that now. So that's very special.
Lovely.
That's cool.
Really, how about you? What's your favorite part about the holidays?
Oh, I think it's an opportunity just to stop and hang out with, people that you don't necessarily get to. Everybody's schedule is so busy. And so it's a really good excuse to stop and chat and catch up. I must admit, I do quite like getting out my Christmas decorations. So for us, it's Sunday morning here. So it's the 1st of December. So it's time.
Yes.
My family are a little bit more reserved when it comes to Christmas decorations and lights and all that sort of stuff. I quite like them, but we find it a happy medium, shall we say. But we don't do a live tree, mainly because I don't want to pick up all the needles. But I do quite like getting all the decorations out. We've still got all the decorations, the ones the kids make at school. And every year I have this vague desire that I will have a coordinated Christmas tree. Like in the movies or in the shops. And I'm like, I just have one that's really pretty and coordinated. Yeah, it doesn't happen. That's okay.
The macaroni, picture frames that they made when they were 5, that sort of stuff. That's the cool stuff.
That one. Yeah, all that. So, and they're so cute. So we still hang them all.
And Jen, I get a live tree, and I know you said you hate Christmas trees, but I put mine up on the first weekend of December, and I don't take it down until the last weekend of January.
We are not allowed to be friends anymore.
Well, I was gonna say I don't have a live tree. I put the pink tree up in the studio for those that follow me.
That is so cute.
It's flocked though, and so it makes such a huge mess when you're like
really?
setting it up, like all of my clothes, everything, because you have to be in it to like do it. And so I was like, oh, this is such a mess. So I'm like, the needles would have been a welcome blessing, honestly.
Until they all fell
we can
charisma,
get
and
a
then they wouldn't be welcome.
Yeah.
You get a live flock tree, and then you get the worst of both worlds.
Yeah, that's right. So, Laura, what about you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually celebrate both Hanukkah and Christmas. So we do Hanukkah stuff for Hanukkah, and we do Christmas stuff for Christmas. Where I grew up at, there was a plant nursery that would decorate really big called Coleman's Nursery. And it had like animatronic moving things and like a big train set, and Santa Claus was there. It was just amazing. So I decorate to the nines. Rayleigh, I'm with you. But I was a florist before I was a quilter. So I have 6 Christmas trees, and all of them are themed. Yeah, and and when we went through the tornado, the adjuster did not believe that anybody owned 6 Christmas trees. He thought that was an exaggeration. I was like, no, you have not seen what my wife does. So my kitchen is all gingerbread. My living room, I have a Santa Claus collection, and all the ornaments in there go with the Santa Claus collection. I have garlands up the wall. It looks like Will Ferrell from Elf came in and decorated.
I think we're going to have to need a tour of your house at some point.
When I get it finished.
Put it up on Insta.
We do the gingerbread houses. That's sort of one of the family traditions we started when the kids were a bit younger, and they love putting it together and then decorating it with lilies and all that sort of stuff, and then of course eating. But we a couple of times we have considered moving that to Christmas in July, because in Australia, like getting the house to actually set in the heat is a little bit of a challenge. But air conditioning helps in that instance.
It does.
I forget about that temperature difference with how warm it is. That actually leads me into my next question for you guys. So, knowing that there are obviously differences, when we think of Christmas, at least here in the States, we think of snow and Santa Claus. And, for those of us who celebrate the faith traditions of Christmas, baby Jesus, but it's cold. And so designing quilts for Christmas for us makes sense because we want to curl up under something. But you guys are probably thinking more like beach quilts at that point, right? I mean, how do you guys design your quilts for Christmas?
Basically, well, I'll go first, Rayleigh. Basically, we don't. Christmas, as you say, is really hot. It's the hottest part of the year. So for us, all the beautiful Christmas fabric that comes out from America and Christmas and snow and, all that sort of stuff, snowmen, mittens, we love, but we don't make quilts out of them because it's just silly. So things like, Christmas tree skirts,
table stuff.
Table runners, Santa sacks, Christmas stockings, all of those sort of things. So from a shop owner's perspective, Christmas fabric, we only buy sort of a small little bit or one particular collection that, really resonates and looks good. There are some really, can I say, awful fabrics that have, Santa in his board shorts and on a surfboard and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a bit twee. I don't know. What else, Rayleigh? I haven't designed any Christmas quilts. The closest I've gotten to is a tree wall hanging, and I did one in reds and pinks for my mum and dad. They live in an apartment. They don't have big space for a Christmas tree, so I made them this wall hanging, and that's their Christmas tree. They have a table underneath it, and that's where they put their little presents and things.
Yeah, so I reckon that's a great idea.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't want to go to the fuss of a Christmas tree. So that was about the only thing I've sort of done from a Christmas perspective. So
yeah.
For those of you guys watching that are interested, we'll put links to all these projects and products that you see here today. That Christmas tree one is a great one. Really, what were you going to say?
I was actually setting up my table because this afternoon I have an event at my house, and I was saying to my husband that I was like, I don't have a Christmas table runner. This is not. He's like, you just have to make one for next Christmas. I'm like, yeah, no, it's not happening for this year at all. And so, but as far as using Christmas fabric, apart from, like, I can see a few of us have got things in the background that we can make Christmas stuff out of, or you can make it a Christmas version. And sometimes it's really nice to hang up stuff, even if it is. So I slightly differ from Anne. I don't mind having the snow stuff, even though we don't have snow.
Makes us feel cooler.
Well, you know, it might have some effect, but I think I just like having the theme stuff around. And whilst it's not true to Australian summer Christmas, I'm okay with having some stuff. I don't do a lot of Santa stuff. Probably other themed Christmas, you know, holly and I don't mind the deer that are around, whether they're reindeer or something. I don't quite know. I think that's the only way they've made it into the Christmas motifs, but yeah, I don't mind having all that around. I think the stuff I've got behind me is more just sort of fairly generic. It's sort of Christmas, or it could become Christmas based on the theme, that, you know, what's in it. So yeah. But,
lovely. But you guys go all out for Christmas usually. So I see so many amazing patterns at Christmas time.
Well, I live in an area with a ton of snow. Ironically, we don't have any now, but 2 years ago at this time, we had like 5 feet of snow, and the snow went up halfway to my studio windows. We have our own snow plow, and so snow is a huge thing around here typically. And so for me, I love decorating for winter holidays and, well, Christmas, but I love making quilts for that season. So I have actually in my stash, before I was even a designer, because my stash is sort of frozen in time, a whole section of my stash that is just winter and Christmas fabrics, because I love them so much. They just make me happy. So I have a collection of that. And my first actually winter holiday line was just launched at market. It's called Homestead Holiday, and it comes out in April. It'll land in shops in April, but it's a pink barn in a winter scene with chickens and a blue tractor and all of the good things. So
super cute. Super cute.
It's my first line that is not a basic. So and I just wanted to do that like winter line because of where I live, and so it is my favorite time of year. So I don't like the hot summers. So
Charisma, just from a designing perspective, when did you start designing that Christmas collection that's coming out in April 2025? When did you start designing it?
Yeah, so last summer. Well, yeah, you have to design. It's like 9 to 12 months ahead. So yeah, it's just kind of crazy. I was finalizing everything probably last spring and summer. So yeah, it's just kind of it takes, the process of designing fabric takes so long. It used to not be as long as it is now, I guess, from what I hear from everybody. But you get your designs, then you have to get everything approved. You go to the mill, then after the mill, you get like your swatches, and then you say, oh, I want this change, I want that change. And so like depending on how long all of that takes, it just a long time. Because
how exciting though to create your own Christmas projects with your own Christmas fabric. That's cool.
Yes. And so and all the chickens are named. They're all the chickens in the panel are my own chickens, so yes, it's just I love the story behind it all. So
that's beautiful. It's funny. I don't publish fabric through a designer the way you do. I've always just self-designed and done it through Spoonflower. And so the turnaround on that is completely the opposite of yours. It's not nearly as grand a scheme. Although, I mean, you can release a line, like we've done one line, and then I've seen a couple other designers do like a full line that they release through there. But because you have that self-control over it, it's a lot quicker, but it's a lot harder to reach the stores doing that, because again, like the margin on them is just, they're almost not comparable from that perspective. But at least you can come up with an idea on Monday and, you know, theoretically have it published by Friday. The time frame is a little bit shorter.
Just a little.
Just a little.
Yeah, not a year. Yeah.
No, you know, my favorite Christmas fabric is this one. It was the first one I ever used. It's from Kate Spain, because I love the novelty of Kate's fabrics. Like, just, they're cute. Do you know what I mean? And here's the back of it. So this is like, I don't know, like this is just a straight, you know, I think it was like a fat quarter pack that I worked from, but I just love how cute they are, and they're simple. And I don't know, I think that's probably my favorite line, or some of her pieces that
I've made some of her quilts too, quilt designs.
I'm a big Sweetwater fan. I love all of their fabric collections, but I don't know whether you can see the advent calendar that I've got just sitting up above. That was with some Sweetwater. What was it called? Holly's Tree Farm, way back. It was just gorgeous. So I'm always a bit of a sucker for the Sweetwater Christmas collections when they come out.
Now,
what about you, Laura? What sort of projects and quilts and things have you designed for holidays?
Well, I'm currently hosting the Sew Along, and the blocks are angel blocks. So it's the 12 blessings of Christmas. And so they get a quilt block that's an angel. They get an ornament that's an angel. They get a devotion for that week with scripture and prayers. And then they get preparing for the holidays. So when I started at the 12 weeks out, I gave them actionable steps every week to prepare for the holidays, like buying the Christmas cards and shopping for your presents and the whole 9 yards with that. So this week they're going to buy the last of their presents. Like for Thanksgiving, we took the week off. So I said, do your Thanksgiving thing. And so you're going to buy the last third of your presents this week. And then you can do all of the fun stuff, because you don't have to keep running to the store or checking the mail. So your stuff is done. So when the tree goes up, the presents go under it, and you're not wrapping them on the 24th. I do have to say, I actually like the beach Santa Claus. And I'll tell you why I liked it. So we lost my father-in-law in 2022, and he was literally like a dad to me. Like, he even walked me down the aisle. And he looked, when he was young, he looked like Merlin Olsen, tall, Scandinavian, reddish blonde hair, freckles, bright blue eyes. As he aged, he looked for a while like Kenny Rogers, but by the time he passed, he looked quite a bit like Santa Claus. So we go to the beach every year in the summer, and where we go, they have what's called the Christmas shop in Manio, North Carolina. And so him and I always go in there and pick out ornaments to give everybody for Christmas, remembering what we did for the summer. So he had a red Jeep, and he had on a red Hawaiian shirt and a pair of khaki shorts. And we drove up in the red Jeep, and all these little girls were going in with their mom, and they all stopped in the parking lot, like just completely dumbstruck. And one of the moms goes, I think we know where Santa goes for vacation. But it was all fresh in their mind because they were going into the Christmas shop. So it was the cutest thing ever.
That's adorable.
So I do like them because it reminds me of my husband's father. And I just that's what I love about it. Some of them are pretty crazy, but I was thinking about designing one with a beach Santa.
No, I've given you some ideas, haven't I?
I really like the introduction of different colors into the Christmas sort of palette. You know, not gone, but you know, we just added to, instead of just red and green, there's so much more, whether it's, you know, the aqua or the teal, or like Charisma's brought in a whole heap plus pink. You know, all of those colors. I really like that that's now very okay in anything.
And it also helps to make it more accessible and useful for Australians and those in the Southern Hemisphere that you know, I'm quite happy to put out a sort of a pink and light greens with a bit of aqua in it, because you know, that sort of bright and cheery sort of colours. Dark greens, blacks. Why on earth does anybody put black in a Christmas quilt? But anyway, controversial.
Like navy blue and silver is a nice combo.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And I can use those, the ones that are in the blues family, I can use those for both Hanukkah celebration and Christmas.
That's true.
Yes.
So it's a nice mix. I do like I have a blue tree. So I have other trees, but I have a blue one.
You've got a blue one. Charisma's got a pink one. Like we've all got to get colorful trees now.
Well, I also have a white one. The one in the kitchen is white, and it's the only one I put colored lights in because all the green trees I put white lights in, and you're supposed to put 100 lights per foot. So if your tree is 7 feet tall, you're supposed to have 700 lights in it.
Wow, I've never heard that.
Yeah, that's the florist in me telling you that.
Okay.
So the white tree gets colored lights, and it gets all of those cutesy mid-century modern colors like the pinks and the pale green, like a sagey green or a limey green. It's all candy, so it's all pastel-y in the kitchen. I have a tree in the kitchen.
Of course you do. So when we were talking about, summer in Australia and beach and things like that. So this is a quilt that I've designed for, it's going to be hard to show.
It is.
Oh, it's adorable.
It's behind the chair.
It's a beach house.
It's a bathing box, yes. Okay. But it's got the center of the Australian flag in it, or
the Southern Cross.
The Southern Cross stars. It's very hard to see. It's a big quilt, but it's
and another heart in.
Oh, of course, there's a heart. I'll try and get the navy to see whether you can see the quilting on it. I quilted it with what we call thongs in Australia, flip-flops. You call them. So, that's your beach quilt. You go down to the beach with your bathing box and sit on that instead of.
That's a very cool.
What's a bathing box?
It's where it used to get changed.
Yeah.
From your clothes into your swimwear, and then you could actually, some of them were on wheels, and it was, back in Victorian times where you didn't show yourself. So the bathing box would actually be wheeled close to the water, and you would walk out the end of it into the water so that you weren't showing off your anything.
Your bits.
In your dog.
in your next to me covering anyway. So
in Melbourne, they have this amazing array of these beautiful bathing boxes, which everybody's painted in all these different colors. They're permanent, and they often go for like 350,000 plus for a bathing box that has no electricity, no water. You can't live in it. You can basically just put your beach umbrella and your beach picnic quilt and your chairs, your sunscreen, and that's it.
So it's like a porta potty on wheels without the potty?
Well, talking about a not movable. It's basically a very fancy storage house.
That's exactly right.
It doesn't move.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The ones these days don't move. I think the ones that moved were like in England, sort of, those beaches that were flat and stony and revolting.
Well, I like that you've celebrated the holiday though with your quilt. It looks great. So we talked about fabric. When do you guys start designing your quilts for Christmas? And then when do you find is a good time to share them with your audiences?
I like to give people time to actually make them. So I struggle with the timing to release a pattern that's Christmas related, because in July, whilst we can do the Christmas in July thing, it's sort of a good time for people to think about it, get the stuff, make it, have it ready for that Christmas. If you release it at Christmas time, I suppose they've got all year, but would they actually think about it until November of the following year? So it's a bit of a challenge. I don't know. What do others do? Charisma, you've got heaps of Christmas ones.
I do. So there's a couple different things. Like, I guess there's no rule, I'll say, because if we're designing for magazines, right, we work 6 to 8 months ahead, and then they publish those during the Christmas season. So I guess we're, really designing those in like January, through March for anything that's being released in a magazine. Well, the Christmas lines usually drop in spring and summer for if you're working with fabric companies. So if you're designing fabric and they're dropping in spring and summer, you probably were designing your patterns for those lines back in fall, the fall before or the summer before. So I just, it depends on what it's being released for or how I'm using it. If I'm doing it to launch a line, then I've designed it probably 2 or 3 quarters ahead of time. If it's for a magazine, it's going to be 6 to 8 months ahead of time. But I will get inspired during the holiday season and then I'll just release it because I just want to put it into the universe for my own satisfaction or because I feel inspired to do it. So I really just don't think that there are any rules. I think so much of the stuff that we do has to be kept secret for so long that by the time it's released, it's like old news to us because we're already working on the next like 3 quarters.
You're over it.
And so if I do get inspired by something now, I just want to put it out now if it has no like strings attached to it. So that's sort of how I feel about it, but I don't know what everybody else, you know, kind of does.
Can I clarify, Charisma? You're probably a good person to ask. Where is there a delay between, so your fabric is not coming out until next April?
Correct.
Which is a Christmas line. And so when do you then release those designs to go with that? In that if because I don't have, you know, my own fabric. So if I create a design, I'm going to be using whatever is out there and probably something very generic because I'm not one who follows designers in any close format.
And it's easier not to, because if you're putting out a pattern and you've put it out in a particular collection, quite a lot of people have a trouble picturing that in other fabrics that they may then have coming out.
Same with Charisma's, which is not released till April. But if, you know, if there's a pattern that's coming out, you know, I don't know, is there a timeline that works for fabric pattern?
It's so that's the difficult thing too, because my fabric launched in at market. So I have to have all of my patterns ready at market because the shops are going to be there to buy them, or to get them, or, you know, for their shop, and then they'll have them in anticipation for when that fabric arrives. So I have to have my stuff ready when it's launched. But then it's like this weird, you know, time in between where I have to promote it so that the shops will buy the fabric. But then everybody says, well, you know, how come we can't get that fabric yet? And right. And so it is like this funny, like in between thing, but there's no like work around it, you know, like I just have to do it. So all of my samples are made. My fabric will land in April. And then, you know, you're on to the next thing already, which is, you know, sort of confusing.
Splitting your brain.
It's different though now. I mean, because you are promoting it, you're promoting it on social media. So you're not just promoting it to shops, you're promoting it to customers.
Correct.
So, you know, in times gone past, the shops would have seen your collection and seen what patterns you've got coming. Yeah. They would have decided yay or nay to get it for their shop. And when it arrived, that's when the customers would start seeing it and get all excited and all the rest of it. So things have changed with, you know, social media and how we order things and stuff. In some respects, it's good because you're getting the customer involved. If they are not interested in it at all, then you're not going to buy it for your shop and not be left with a whole lot of fabric that you can't sell. So,
but between now and 4 months away, the attention span could divert to somewhere else.
Correct.
Squirrel.
But then you just hope it's in their local shop so that they'll then have a fresh and, you know, state. Yeah.
Gosh.
So what other holidays do you guys get into in terms of designing patterns for?
You know, I'll go. So for me, it's easier because there's such a specific focus of my business on being faith with fabric. I start my season kind of in Advent. So, Advent starts the beginning of December, and in the church, that's the start of the new year. So I kind of count that as like the start of everything. So I've got quilts for Advent, I've got quilts for Christmas, and then that leads us into Epiphany. So we've got like the 3 wise men quilts. And then really, like, depending on the year, Ash Wednesday, Mardi Gras, the day before on Tuesday, is really short. Sometimes it's in early February, mid-February. This year, I think it's a little bit later. But then I've got quilts for Lent, and then that goes into Easter. And so I kind of hit all the major seasons just because the nature of my business.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I kind of hit all of them. And then a lot of the saints holidays, right? Like St. Patrick's Day, St. Valentine's Day. But probably a little bit more emphasis on the saint side as opposed to just lots of hearts and clovers. And I feel like you've got the hearts taken care of.
Wow, yes, yeah. Not that I've specifically done them for Valentine's Day, but I just kind of think we all just need a heck of a lot more love in this world. So
Yes.
My contribution is quilts for hearts that you can give to whomever you love. So
I decorate for all the holidays. I started that when my kids were little because I wanted it to be magical for them. But it also made me make sure everything stayed clean because, like, you don't want to hang a wreath on a door that has dirty glass on it. So it was my way of staying on top of everything. And the kids enjoyed, like, putting the decorations up with me. Now, my youngest son, he says whoever he marries is not allowed to have any decorations because he's not carrying any more. We call them clutter coffins. They're those plastic totes.
Yes.
He's carried so many of them up. He said he wife or whatever is never allowed to decorate because I do it.
See how that pans out for him.
What?
Your clutter coffin. That's a great word.
Oh, and it's the truth. How many clutter coffins do we own? Like I probably could own part of Sterlite for the number of clutter coffins I have. But I decorate for all the holidays. So I'll have things out in advance that I know I want to do, but like the quilt behind me is actually releasing this week. Can you see it?
That way, yes.
Great, beautiful.
Okay, so I was inspired by Charisma and her pink barn. And then I got this pattern from Amy Chappell from A. Marooney's, and she's got these little houses. And so I'm making them into little gingerbread houses to put in my kitchen. Nice. So this will be the backdrop behind it. And this is called Mid-Mod Noel because it says no, and then the bottom says L.
Cool.
But it's a pink quilt, and I have a quilt that looks similar that's red and white. And I was like, instead of home, I could put Noel on it. And I just decided and went with it and literally just whipped it out. So it's actually premiering this week.
Cool. There are so many different ways that you can celebrate, whether it's an event or just different parts of the year. I think I'm probably drawn more to seasons instead of, well, I like events like Christmas. We have a number of Christmas patterns, but I like seasonal things, summer, spring, autumn, winter, and that I think it can be a little bit more broad to decorate with rather than
design for.
Yeah. So, my brain just sort of.
Do you sort of decorate for Anzac Day, Remembrance Day, Rayleigh? I
usually pull out my poppy quilt for Anzac Day because that's usually when we have the poppy. Remembrance Day is less of the poppy, more of other things. I don't have a specific any quilts or patterns that are specific for that. I know there are around
there's some good panels that I've seen.
Yeah, and there's some there are some actual patterns that are like an outline of a soldier or whether with a rifle upturned all that sort of stuff. So there's certainly patterns that are out there. But Anzac Day we usually hang out the poppy quilt in my front window just because it's special to us. So it's a bit of a harder one. I feel you have to there's a bit of a line that you have to tread with the respect for the day and in essence, making
you're not celebrating it. that you're remembering.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Well, it's not celebrating, but is it something to profit from?
From that
I feel like there's
yeah.
a bit of a line there, and I'm very cautious about that. So with the poppy quilt, portion of that, any sales from that, I send to a charity that looks after soldiers in Australia.
Yeah.
So
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
lovely.
That's really cool. How do you guys handle like sales around this time? Like I know your inbox, at least in the States, like I find that this Black Friday through
Cyber Monday
honestly started like the beginning of November, right? Because everyone now is like trying to be
late October. I started getting my first ones.
But it's like it's a good opportunity for me to unsubscribe. You know what I mean? And so I think as a businesswoman, I'm always cautious with sending emails out this time of year because I don't want to get lumped in with all of those. Oh my gosh, unsubscribe. I don't want to be part of this.
Yeah.
And at the same
or you just get missed anyway.
Yes, you totally. And and at the same time, I have customers who are like, are you going to be having a sale? Because there's a couple things I want to pick up. And so I think it, almost like really you were saying, finding a way of celebrating a holiday, but not trying to directly profit from it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel this is. Like I'm trying to walk that fine line between
very fine line, isn't it?
Not getting lumped in with like, another email of somebody trying to sell me stuff on sale.
Yeah.
How do you guys handle that?
I've got to say personally, if I haven't heard from this business in the last 3 months, 5 months, 7 months, and I suddenly get an email because they've got a Black Friday sale on, it's like they're a certain unsubscribe. Because it's like if you're not sending out not constant, but regular communications to your customers, don't just try and flog me stuff on Black Friday. As an Australian, I would just like to put I hate Black Friday. It's got nothing to do with Australia. We don't have Thanksgiving. There isn't a Black Friday, which was caused by the fact that nobody was shopping on Thursday, and it drives me nuts. However, having said that, every business around the globe is doing it tough. And, if it's a way to get people to look at their business and bring some money in. However, as a small business, it's impossible to compete with the humongous discounts that other businesses put up. So normally I don't even enter the fray.
I
would much prefer to
I don't
have
either.
my
Marketing as well.
My sales at my decent price. I mean, I'm not overpriced. I sell my things for a reasonable price that gives me a livable wage. And any discounts just take away from that. So I'd prefer my customers to love me a little bit more than wanting to see me go out of business sort of thing. So, it's just a really hard one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't do anything either. I just send out my regular emails or my newsletter or whatever weekly, but I don't offer anything because I feel like it's not fair to the people who ordered the week before to have a sale. I don't know. I just feel like I just don't want to be a part of the fray either. So I just continue on business as normal. I don't do anything. The only time I really offer a sale is if I've dropped a new video on my YouTube or something like that. So that's just a normal, like what I do every week.
Normal part of your routine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Laura, you got to tell us who your kitty cat is.
Okay, that's Bellatrix, and she's only 6 months old, and she is trying to climb the design wall behind me. So I'm kind of fighting her. Here she is. I'll show you. She's beautiful. She is got orange and dark markings on her, and she's got little white booty, little white feet. So anyway, she is quite the lovely little baby, but she wants to get up on the design wall because she wants to climb it.
With its claws.
Yes. So as far as sales, I actually am running a sale this week. Not because I'm getting in everybody's inbox, but I actually like the interaction with people. I don't go for a hard sale. That's not my personality at all. I'm sure all of y'all have heard me say that I don't want to sound salesy, and I don't want to be saying, but buy it. So I hate that. I hate when it's done to me, so I don't like to do it. By
Mhm.
me doing this sew along, it allows me to show them things like in my house that I do personally, and it actually builds a relationship with the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if I have something coming out or something that's specific for the holiday, I can talk about it with them, like in the groups or when I'm sending out the patterns. And if they like it, I am certainly love that they purchase it, but I'm never one that I feel like that you have to buy. And and if
Mm.
it's on sale, to be honest with you, I did retail for a long time. So if somebody comes and says, well, I bought that last week and it was such and such, I've always just given them the difference back. I mean, like
Mm.
if it's like 6 months ago, do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? But I think that's a little much, but I would still probably do it if the person was upset.
Yeah.
So
Well, the hard thing too is giving warning of the sales. Your normal sales just drop off. So it's as a business, it's
Yeah.
a hard road. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the relationship with the person. I want them to like me, not only as a designer, but as a human being. And like, I want to have relationship with them. If my
Respect.
quilt is hanging in their house, I want them to talk about me the way they talk about Charisma and her chickens in her pink barn.
Yes.
Oh, there are plenty of people who don't like me. Trust me.
That's not true. You're like Santa Claus. Everybody likes Charisma.
Seriously.
So I have a question.
Charisma of all those people that sent you beautiful decorations to put on your pink Christmas tree last year.
Yes.
Yeah,
That was
it's so
such a cool idea.
it was so special because even this year, and I saved all of the letters and I have them in a box that I stored the ornaments in so I could revisit them while I was
Oh, beautiful.
decorating the tree. And so yeah, last year it was just sort of this organic thing that I ordered this pink tree off of Amazon and I decided to open it live just to see, because I didn't know if it would be like actually a nice tree or if it would just be like this horrible, thing that you get and you're
Plasticky, yeah. Mm.
yeah. And so when I opened it up, I was like so like excited because it was actually like a pretty tree. And and so we put it up and then one of my people said, Charisma, can we just send you ornaments? And I was like, yeah. I mean, I was not like expecting anything. Like none of that crossed my mind.
Yeah.
And every day through November, all the way up until Christmas, I got new ornaments in the mail every day with letters
wonderful.
of people from everywhere. It was just this amazing thing. And like so many people said, Christmas, you don't have to like put these up every year, and I'm like, why wouldn't I? Like this
Exactly,
is
yeah.
a special
So cool.
thing
Mm.
that, like all of it from their heart. Like they went out and bought these ornaments or took them from their own or made them or whatever, and then took the time to ship them. That's just like this amazing blessing. And
Absolutely.
so I think it was
Yeah.
like, this great way to have my first Christmas in the studio. And then I have this like memento or whatever every Christmas.
Yeah.
So I love it. I think it's beautiful. And I love that I get to share that story and that all of those ornaments just meant something, from everybody. So yeah.
Well,
Is that, sorry, Jen, go for it.
Well, I was going to say, so much of the holidays is about gifting and charisma. I was curious, share a little bit about your paying it forward of your machines with gifting.
Oh,
How
yeah.
I'd love to hear how that's going for you.
I've been getting letters every week, so I'm excited about that. But I am, for those that don't know, I'm giving away a used long arm. It doesn't have any bells or whistles, but it's just sort of I started on a long arm without any bells and whistles. I've been sewing on those for 16 years now, or no, yeah, 16. I can't believe I've been a quilter for 16 years. Yeah. So I was able to raise 6 kids doing that and forge my business. And I have a long arm that is here. And so I am offering it to anybody who is either within driving distance of me or is willing to pick up. So all they have to do is write a letter of intent, basically, and just send me a picture of one of their quilts. It doesn't have to be anything fantastic. I just want to make sure that they're a quilter. And the letters coming in are really great. I think that, the quilting community is just a really beautiful community with a lot of people who do a lot of great things and are very generous and charitable. And I am not going to choose the winner because I think that I am such a sucker and I want to give like all of these people a long arm.
It could be a tad expensive.
I know. So
who's going to choose?
I'm giving them a group committee so that they can choose, and then I will notify the winner at the end of January. So yeah, but the letters coming in are amazing. All of these people just do amazing things, and they are making an impact in their community around them, and I just love that. So yeah.
That's really cool.
That's
awesome.
We'll have to get an update in January.
What?
We'll have to get an update in January.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll do that. Yeah,
That's
I'll be
amazing.
sharing it as long as they're comfortable with me sharing, whatever. But yeah.
And I had interrupted you. You were going to say something.
Oh, I can't even remember now. Sorry, got sidetracked on the whole paying
I have
forward.
a question though. I think it would be really cool if everybody spoke about their favorite Christmas design. So I know Jen's got quite a few. I know Charisma's got quite a few. Laura, I haven't been on your website recently, but I'm sure you've got them. But I know, like with Jen, I've done the candles. That was a table runner.
Yeah.
Many years ago. And I think that was for a school, and they did an auction on it or something or other.
It's a
so
great
out of your Christmas designs, what's your favorite of your Christmas, or any any event through the year, any holiday? Do you have a favorite of your designs?
I do. So this is my favorite one. So I have the Jessie tree quilt, and that's probably one of my favorites from a designer's perspective, because coming up with all those different blocks, like 20, 25 individual blocks, and the research, and I just had so much fun pulling that like advent calendar style quilt together, going from creation all the way through Christ's birth. And then kind of like Laura, you were saying, I have all the little devotions with it. So I enjoyed that from a design perspective. But when I look at it, I see it more like a, wow, like that looks cool. But from like a emotion perspective, this one's my favorite. Kind of like Ann did. I'm not sure how I'm going to get this in the camera, so I'm going to hold it up in front of me. But it's the Mary and Jesus quilt.
Ah, yes.
And I see this one and I'm just like, oh, because I'm a mom, and I remember those tender moments of just like staring into my baby's face like that. And then it just, I then hear like Silent Night start to play in the background in my head when I see it. And so it's like all the feels for me with this one. So this is actually one of the few quilts that I hang up and put up for the holidays, because again, I'm like the opposite of Laura. Like I have this one little table in my house, and that's my decorating for the season. And the decorating is in the form of a picture frame, and the picture frame just has little things that I cycle through all year long. So with the exception of like a Christmas tree, which is the only real decoration we put up, this goes up for Christmas. And that's really brilliant.
The song that quilt actually makes me think of is the Mary, Did You Know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's the one that quilt inspires in my mind.
Me too.
Really? How about you? What is one of your favorite?
One that one of our actual design, I've actually hung them behind me, is that it's a swag. Let me move out of the way. There you go. So I've hung them, and they're done in different colors. This is the original one, and then we added on extra ones, and then we added on another two. So if you want, you can have a swag that, well, you could repeat it as long as you like, really. But this is sort of fun and quick. So that's probably my favorite. There are others on there, but I really like the fun of it.
Rayleigh, is that like the one that you had at retreat that's got the little snaps that go together?
Yeah.
I thought that was an awesome way to do a banner.
So let me ruin my display.
Oh, well.
So It's pretty simple with
Oh, I
the
love that.
embroidery, but then it's just the cam snaps.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Which
Oh, cool.
so
So cute.
the reason we did it that way is so that you can pull it up. Oh, hang on, get it in front of the camera. Pull it apart and lay it flat to store, so
Yeah.
you don't end up with bent corners and you
That's
don't have
really
to press
smart.
it. It's all
Takes
about
up a
not
lot less
ironing
space.
things.
Mm.
I'm not a fan of the iron unless I absolutely need to. So if I don't have to press it to hang it, I'm all good.
Because I was putting that up at retreat and I was just like, oh, this is so easy. And just thinking, you could just keep going. You could have, Merry Christmas, John, Paul,
George
Mum,
Reed.
Dad, you could have everybody's names and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Is that
See,
the
look,
same
and I've
thing?
just
We
put it
call
back
that
together,
flag.
just
Is
like that. So
Is flag the same thing as bunting? Like I would call that bunting.
Yeah. Yeah.
One and the same. Okay.
I've got a cute little bunting pattern, which I actually haven't made for a while. This is using a charm pack, so it's pretty small, but I've done it in this really creative way that you get zero waste. So you're not actually just cutting the triangles, because if you can see on the back,
Oh, that's
the
amazing.
flags are kind of got a seam on the back. So and it works with any size square. So that's a small one. I've been thinking I really must do one with a layer cake, a 10-inch square kind of one, because that would make a big statement.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's beautiful.
Because I just love bunting. It doesn't matter whether it's Christmas or birthdays or whatever. Once you put up a piece of bunting, you're in celebration mode.
Yeah. Certainly adds to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So out of
That's
your 500 patterns, Charisma, which Christmas one is your favorite?
It's like 1,000.
Okay. 10 hours later.
I am like going through them in my head right now, and there are so many that I love for a lot of reasons, but because again, they all tell a story. But I'm gonna show you one that I've made so many times in so many lines and whatever, but because I've made them so many times in so many lines, I made them in my own Christmas line because it just takes like scraps and some background. But the hope and love pillows, and it's a table runner and 2 pillows. But I did it in my own line too. So hope
Oh, that's cute.
and then love. Yeah. So can
Those
you
are
see
nice
that?
pillows. I like them.
Yeah.
Mm.
So Hope is actually my middle name, and so I use Hope a lot. And it's not, I mean, my parents were hippies, that's why I have the name Charisma anyway, but Hope was not part of what they chose. My grandmother was from Iceland and she couldn't pronounce Charisma, so she got to name my middle name, and so she called me Hope until I was 14 years old, and we sort of had a special relationship. So Hope is just it's
Special
my name,
word.
but it's also a special word for me. So there's that. And then there's a quilt that I made, and I don't have it here, but it's not one of my patterns, but it's a quilt that I just really love. And it's I did like an embroidered Charlie Brown Christmas tree theme, and then I put a bunch of brightly colored trees, because if you've ever watched Charlie Brown, the scenes are all very colorful trees with pastels and purples and whatever. So I did make my own kind of quilt with that, and embroidered the center, and that's like something that I actually like and hang up, because I don't have to like send it to anybody for a sample or anything. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You get to keep it. It's yours. And
Yes.
by the way, Laura, that cat is going to cause absolute mayhem.
Yep.
Mayhem.
She's all the way to the ceiling, by the way.
Sorry, I was listening to Charisma, but I was chuckling at the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's literally at the ceiling.
Yeah. She's going to be a big handful. So we're getting close to our hour, Jen. Have we got any other things we need to start talking about?
Oh my gosh. I'm watching this like fall on her. I think I'm actually really excited with all that we've been able to talk about. We've spent time talking about whether we design seasonal products, how we prepare for our holidays, what some of our timelines on are, whether or not we even do sales. I feel like we've covered a lot. I'd actually turn that back over to you guys. Is there anything else you guys want to share as fabric designers or as pattern designers, or even just as quilters yourself, that you would love to share?
I'm going to put it out there that it would be really cool if someone has a concept that they haven't yet found in a pattern, feel free to contact like their favorite designer and say, because you never know what might be in the works. We don't know what's in the back of Charisma's brain, or any of us.
It's
We all have that
busy.
comment.
Well, I didn't know 3 years ago I would design a Christmas quilt with chickens, like that's just how
It's
it
a
goes.
perfect fit, Charisma.
Yeah.
So
So
if you've got
addictive.
a concept, feel free to ask, because you never know what might be coming up. And I think hopefully what's coming out of this is that people can see that we're just average people. We have cats that ruin backgrounds, and all of that sort of stuff. So that it might be
We're
that
approachable. Yeah.
thank you. That's a more succinct way of saying it.
Yeah.
So that's very cool.
I'm just hoping that things can calm down a little bit. I'd really like to enjoy my lead up to Christmas, opening all my advent calendars, spending time with my parents. I'm going to pick my parents up and bring them back here for Christmas and Boxing Day. We always host Boxing Day. Boxing Day, by the way, for the Americans is the day after Christmas. And it's just as big. So we're looking forward to just enjoying and spending and just slowing down a little bit. Things have been so hectic this year. I'm really looking forward to some quieter times. So, and surprisingly, that's when my creative design brain goes nuts, when I'm having time to sit and relax, and out comes the pen and paper, and it's like, oh, I could do this, and oh, I could do that. And
well, because you're finally giving yourself time to breathe and relax and be creative, right?
Yeah.
That could be a really good discussion for another time, is our creative process
Yeah,
and what it takes for all those, designs to filter through and actually become a finished design.
Yes.
That
Well,
would
how
be
about
interesting.
On that note, then, did anybody else have anything to share before I wrap this up here?
No.
I just would like to say that I'm so thankful for you guys as designers. This is our Thanksgiving weekend, so I've been thinking about it. I'm grateful for y'all's friendship. I just love the people that come to see me when I come to shows, and they bought a pattern from me and they're so excited. That's exciting for me, not because they made the purchase from me, but because I could inspire them to do something creative. I think that's probably the best feeling ever, is when you see somebody this is excited about what you're doing as what you are. It's kind of really uplifting, and it makes you feel super creative. And so since my wall fell down and and it's Thanksgiving weekend, I just wanted to say I appreciate all of the people that come up and say hello to us and that purchase things from us. And even if you don't purchase anything, if you just come for the free stuff, I love them too. I like the idea of the community. And I think quilting is a really beautiful community.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm always amazed at how much we can impact somebody else's lives just by a quilt pattern or releasing something for free, as you said. Or I'm always touched. I think
I feel
by
the
some of
same
those.
way. Yeah, I feel that same way. I'm so thankful that I get to work in this business. And, I think about, a prime example, obviously, for me is the tree that I talked about, how the community gives back to me all of the time. But also all of the cheerleaders that I've had along the way, because so many people know my story, and I had humble beginnings and all of this stuff. And I've had people that have been following me for all 16 years that have cheered me on, and just, I don't know, it's just amazing, honestly. So when they do come up and say hello, or, buy that pattern that resonates with them, because we're putting things out into the world, and that's very vulnerable for us as designers to put something out into the world and hope somebody likes it. And when they do, it's, it's this huge blessing. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
it is.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, we will see.
You knew that a 3-pound cat could do this.
Well, this has been great to talk with you guys, and we will convene again in January. After this wraps up, I'll be putting links down below to everyone's social media accounts so you guys can follow along, and a lot of the projects you saw. And then we'll also be sharing where and when we'll be probably towards the end of January.
Yes,
I think we'll
please.
probably take
Very
December off. Yeah, everyone can enjoy their Christmas and Boxing Day.
Yes.
Awesome. Take care, you guys. We'll see you later.
See ya.
Lovely talk. Bye.
Bye, everyone.